Well, we're live. Why? I don't know. Wow. Notre Dame, 23. Clemson, 31. They say traveling down to Clemson down there in Death Valley. I guess they call her Death Valley for a reason, huh? Well, you know how I feel today. I had a prediction on the pregame show. Notre Dame 38, Clemson 23. Well, at least I got one correct score, 23. Who would have thought? Notre Dame 23, Clemson 31. Going into this game, maybe I'm looking at it with too much of my heart. Honestly, I really am. Let's look at this game here from the opening drive. Notre Dame comes out, okay, gets a field goal right away from Strader, a great boot from 50 yards, looking great there. Of course, we know what he can do. Then right after that, what happens? Clemson just comes right out, and they come right down the field. Of course, they get a score right away. Not just a score, a 41-yard gash by Phil Maffa. Will Shipley's out. The injury report said he was going to play with the concussion report last week. He could possibly play. But, boy, they didn't even need Will Shipley today. Maffa comes in, 40-yard, one scamper, through the house, 7-3. 7-3, Tigers. Okay, well, we're down, 7-3 here. What happens? Clemson comes right back on a nice drive right down the field. Irish bends but doesn't break, gives up a field goal, 21-yard field goal to Whites. 10-3 Clemson. Okay, not a problem. We're still in this game. End of the first quarter. What happens? We get the ball, drive down the field. Schrader kicks another field goal, 30-yard field goal. Wow. 10-6. Okay, we're in this game. Defense is playing okay. They gave up a huge gash early, 41-yard scamper to Maffa. We're okay. We're 10-6. We're in this game. What happens? Clemson gets the ball, drives right down the field, right to the red zone. Tyler Brown, 9-yard TD pass. Wow. Okay, 17-6. Still in the game, right? Still in the game. Still in the second quarter. Still in the game. Well, Sam Hartman comes out. Last week, he threw for 380 in the yard. Our team ran for 205 on the ground. Looked great last week, of course. But you know what? We played Pittsburgh. Last week. So Hartman drops back, looks in the lane, gets a little pressure, throws the ball. Well, I don't understand. Wrong color jersey here. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I mentioned this guy on the pregame show. This guy is nasty, All-American, senior, going to be a first-round, second-round pick there. Incredible pick 6 for Jeremiah Trotter. It is what it is. They go up 24-6 right away. Well, Notre Dame comes back. We get a field goal late, 24-9. Okay, you're still in the game here, right? Coaching adjustments go into halftime. I want to hear what Freeman's saying. Gerard Parker's talking to Sam Hartman saying, hey, you got to be more efficient with the ball. You got to look here. Where the hell was the offensive line in the first half? I'm going off on the offensive line here. Can't get any movement. Defensive pressure all over this. All-American, Joe Alt. It's just insane. This offensive line got manhandled today. It really did. It showed today who was more hungry. This takes me back to that game where Duke, manhandled offensive line. Going to the Louisville game. Once again, manhandled up front. Games are won in the trenches, finish in the trenches. This is one of those games there. We'll get into some of the stats in a little bit, but we're just going through the scoring category here of the summary. So, halftime comes out. Okay, Notre Dame gets the ball. We drive down there. We get to the red zone. Audric Estime finally finds the end zone. Hey, we did get that right. We said Estime would have one touchdown today. He got that. We got something right, plus a 23. But who would have thought Notre Dame had 23? My final score was 38-23. Notre Dame wins. But now Notre Dame got the 23 on the losing end here. So let's get back to the scoring summary. Estime getting to the end zone here. The score is 24-16, and we're thinking like, okay, you know what? Second half, we're gonna kick this in overdrive. We're gonna come back and win this game. Well, once again, the running back, not Will Shipley, Phil Maffa, the lightning, the power, the bruiser, gets into the end zone on a 1-yard touchdown again, 31-16. Well, this gives this game out of reach. I mean, going into the fourth quarter here, Sam Hartman shows a little bit in the third quarter before we get there. Well, he gets a touchdown. He gets a touchdown on a 26-yard run, shows his legs, finally climbs the pocket, finds the lane, gets to the end zone. 23-31. Notre Dame still in the game? We think so. Defense is playing a little bit better here, but once again, Mafah continues to run the ball on Notre Dame. Continues to run the ball. That is something that I could not believe with everything going on here. You look at everything here, and you think about one thing to me. Will Shipley being out, what do you have to do? Clay Klubnik is not going to throw the damn ball downfield, okay? His stats, we'll talk about his stats because it was all about Clemson today. It was nothing about Notre Dame today. Nothing about Notre Dame except negativity, okay? Clemson, Cade Blickney, 13 for 26, 109, 1 TD, 1 pick, okay? We did say one thing, too, on the pregame show. Xavier Watts is going to get a pick today. He leads the nation now with 7 picks. We got that one right finally, but who cares? 7 picks. He's lost the game. You couldn't do anything with it. You went down and got a field goal off of a pick. A field goal off of a pick. That means nothing to me. You're in the red zone. You can't score. You're settling for field goals, okay? Let's talk about it. The one thing before we want to get to that, the stats here. Chris Tyree, man. What the hell happened to you on a muff punt? Your bad punt, the ball hits you clearly in the damn face mask. Drop the ball. Clemson gets the ball. That is another touchdown right there for them. That right there was a swing too. You think about that. A lot of times we call a 7 to 14-point swing. Of course, you always assume that you're going to score a field goal or a touchdown. You gave up a touchdown on that. So you lost at least 3 points in advantage. You're trying to score. You gave up 7, a 10-point swing right there. Chris Tyree, you have a glimpse of glamour of him last week scoring a touchdown on special teams, beating 11 people on the field, 1 versus 11, clear touchdown last week. This week, he can't even catch a damn ball, But let's look at some of these stats. The man of the game, no Notre Dame player on the name of the game, player of the game this week. Phil Mafah this week. God, 36 carries, 186 yards on the ground. 5.2 average, 2 TDs, and a scamper of 41 yards for this guy. 36 carries, I repeat, 186 yards. Inside between the tackles, outside the hash, anywhere he got the ball, he just created distance and lanes. I give a lot to this offensive line. We talk about who comes out with more power, more advantages. Clearly, it was a Clemson Tigers today in Death Valley. They opened up the lanes. They gave him the clear advantage to run the ball. 36 carries, 186 yards. 41 of that was on the first drive of the game there, going for 41 yards to the house. 2 TDs as well. That name I want to repeat is Phil Mafah, okay? Not Will Shipley. Not Will Shipley. Phil Mafah, okay? Amazing. I mean, Cabe didn't really do much. Like I said, 13 for 26, 109 yards, 1 TD, 1 pick. Their longest reception was 18 yards, and that was by Sage Ennis, the person I had mentioned earlier today. He's more than a burner, but the wide receivers didn't really have to do much. This game was won in the line of scrimmage here with more heart, more ability to move the ball downfield. The offensive line got to the second level. They were twisting, they were pulling, and the offensive line was just manhandling this game. When you give a running back, a backup running back, I mean, Clemson does have 2 legitimate running backs. Will Shipley is their starter, consensus third-team All-American, injured from the concussion last week. Phil Mafah comes in here, 36 carries, 186 yards. That is all about the offensive line. Who wants it more? This defensive line was stout, of course, but then again, you really think about this. We played Pittsburgh, manhandled them. You play teams with a legitimate offensive line, a legitimate, not elite, okay? You play them, you downfall to them. Very simple. Not the greatest thing I'm seeing here. Are we overrated? I believe we are. Hey, going in here now, we're 7-3, fighting for a right to think about what we're going to do going into a New Year's Eve 6 game. That's out of the question. You're not getting a New Year's 6 game now. You're not. You might get the Dollar General Bowl. You might get the Mud Bowl. You might get some BS bowl now. You lost a shot to get a legitimate shot at a New Year's 6 game. That's not going to happen. Hell, now we might be playing on December 23rd, the very first game of the damn bowl season. Who knows? That's where we belong. That's just me. I try to keep it real here, but that's just how I feel. You think about this. The one big thing, every Notre Dame defense did play a little bit. They forced fumbles. Mafah had 2 fumbles today, okay? He lost one of them. Notre Dame recovered that. But you got to cash in when you get fumbles. The defense can bend, but they don't break. But they bent and they broke tonight. giving up 3 touchdowns, all 1 through the air, 2 on the ground, the Mafa. But the advantage was there when he fumbled the ball. You should have took advantage of that. So I blame the offense 100% on this. The one person I do want to talk about on defense here is let's talk about this guy. Let's talk about this guy, Jeremiah Trotter. I don't know what it is with these St. Joe's Prep guys. Growing up, I watched St. Joe's Prep play for 4 years. I watched Harrison play. I watched Kyle McCord play. I watched Jeremiah Trotter play. Josiah Trotter, his younger brother, who's down in West Virginia right now. I watched all these kids play from Prep. These Prep kids are kicking my ass this year, okay? Ohio State, Kyle McCord, Marvin Harrison. Last play of the game, Kyle McCord bounces to the end zone on, the Bush push that we talk about, or Philadelphia closes the brotherly love. We had 10 men on the field. Ohio State player daggers me. Louisville doesn't have an Ohio State player. Okay, that was just a all-around butt beating from them. More heart, more want. Let's put it that way. Quotation want. They beat us handily. This game here, Jeremiah Trotter, man, one guy on defense to shut down the entire Notre Dame offense. Pick 6, 13 tackles, 9 solo tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack. Jeremiah Trotter. Can't say much about this kid except elite, very good player. He shut down this Notre Dame offense today. Let's go to the Notre Dame offense. I mean, what can we talk about with the Notre Dame offense? This week was just a eyesore of the game. One thing I do want to talk about, in the beginning of the season, we talked about Sam Hartman coming in on the transfer portal. One of the highest recruits that Notre Dame's really had through the transfer portal being the first year. We thought we were going to be something. We've seen glimpses and glamours of what he can do, through the air, making the right decision, climbing the pocket at the right time, looking downfield, always keeping plays alive. Showed it with his legs once in a while. But today, 13 for 30, 146 yards, 2 TDs. I'm sorry, no TDs. I'm very sorry about that. I'm just, thinking about what he could do, I guess, looking down the future. But 2 picks tonight. It actually could have been 4 picks. It could have been 2 pick sixes tonight. The one clear pass that he had to, I believe, was Jaden Greathouse on the outside. He just threw the ball out there, and thank God it went through the defender's hands. That could have been another pick 6. That would have gave me the correct score of 38-23, opposite team winning. But what is it with Sam Hartman? What is it? Are we overlooking that we've really never had a quarterback, going back to, Tommy Rees, those days? Are we looking, what do we have here? Jimmy Clausen days. We have these big guys come in, names come in. Hartman comes in. We think he's Clemson glamours. But the one thing that I do want to say is one of the announcers actually said this. Hartman can show you glimpse of glamours of a national championship competitive quarterback. But then on the next play, he looks lost. What is it? What is it with Sam Hartman? A 5th-year senior, a 5th-year starter. What do we see with this guy? I'm very high on him, still was. I think he is going to be not a first-round pick, a late NFL draft pick. But be honest, he's not what Notre Dame needs. Maybe it's because he doesn't have the weapons. Maybe that's what it is. There is no name wide receiver. Tyree, Greathouse. You think about it. Maybe that's why. Tobias Merriweather. No Mitchell Evans tonight hurt us a lot. You look at the last games that Notre Dame had. The Mitchell Evans was everything out there. He was our Michael Mayer last year. Everything runs through him. Estime controls the line of scrimmage with the run attack, and Mitchell Evans controls the secondary with the passing attack. When you lose him, it just seems like, our playbook, even though we've had it for a week without Mitchell Evans, we throw it out the door and we say, oh, no, we don't know what to do right now. That's what it seems like Notre Dame is doing. They play – I don't want to play down the competition because Clemson, just like I said in the pregame, Clemson was sitting at 4-4. Now they're 5-4. They're bowl eligible now. When was the last time that Dabo Swinney has ever had a losing record? Never. This goes back to like the Pittsburgh Steelers with Mike Tomlin. They play for a coach. They play for everything. They play for acknowledgement of the university. When was the last time Clemson had a losing record? We've never had one. And I'll tell you what, those seniors in there say, you're damn right, we're not going out with a losing record. So to beat a Notre Dame team, it builds enthusiasm for the university, the record, the acknowledgement of the university as well. But in Notre Dame's case, you got manhandled. Offense, defense, special teams. Tyree muffs a punt, gives them 7 points. Special teams out the window. F today. Sam Hartman, a complete F, okay? You're not looking downfield. Bad reads, overthrown balls, miscommunication with the wide receivers. Okay, nothing there at all. Should have been 4 picks today. Should have been 2 pick sixes. You got away with 2 picks today. Should have been 4. That last assignment ball on the outside, the Jaden Greenhouse, you didn't even see the defender. You just threw it before the Jaden Greenhouse broke. The defender came in. Thank God he missed the ball right through his hands. That could have been another pick 6. The worst game that I've seen Hartman play, other than the 3 interception game, to me this year. Audric Estime, you know what? Hey, 17 carries, 87 yards, 1 TD, long of 25 there. You know, you think about what he can do. It's a one-man show when this offensive line gets manhandled by this front 7 for the Clemson Tigers. You know, it's just all around a beatdown. They wanted it more. The offensive line did not show up. I don't get it. You know, I know we lost our center tonight. I understand that. But that's assignment football. Next man up. What happened in the first half? You're down. Okay, you're down 21 at 21 points, 10 points down in the first half. That has nothing to do with losing your center. It really doesn't. This game was a complete debacle of what Notre Dame is. You know, I have down at the bottom. Down goes the Irish again. My question is, are we overrated? You know, I do a podcast on Wednesday night with Bill Furman at College Football Frenzy, and I'm a diehard Notre Dame fan, but I'll keep it real. It's just my opinion, what I see. But I'll tell you truthfully, Notre Dame is overrated. They are overrated every year. We always look at Notre Dame being a name recognition team. You know, we always talk about Alabama, the Alabama prestige, the name, the national titles. They lose a game. Why are they in the top 10? Well, you know what? They're Alabama, but they continue to win who's in front of them. Notre Dame, on the other hand, you know what? You lose to Ohio State. I understand that. Name recognition game. You played your heart out. You lost that game. Not big. You went down in the rankings a little bit. You climb back up. But then what the hell happens to that? You go down to Duke. You barely win a game on a last touchdown Jesus drive. You win that game. Fine. You win that game. Good. What happens? You go to Louisville. Okay. What happens? You get your ass beat in Louisville. A better team, not a better team, a more hungry team shows up, just like the Clemson University. We go down there. We assume we're going to win. We have the offensive line. We have the defensive stout. We have the secondary. We have Hartman. We have Estime. We can win this game. No, Hart shows up. Clemson beats you on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. It started in the trenches. Cade didn't do anything, 130 yards. Faha, 186 yards on the ground. Give that boy credit. Give that offensive line credit. The defense did not show up for Notre Dame. They got manhandled. They bent, but they didn't break. But you know what? You got to put the front 7 up there. And I blame Golden on that one. The ball wasn't flying for Clemson outside the secondary. Move that extra guy up to the box. Move an extra guy up there. They were getting manhandled. A lot of stunts, you know, that didn't even work. The offensive line is pulling outside between the hash marks, inside the gaps. Mahafa just ran all over. 36 carries, 186 yards. So is this team overrated? I believe it is, okay? You think about this. Ohio State, I understand that loss. Ohio State is superior. You kept them down in points. You played that game, you know, all the way up until the last minute of the game is where you lost that game. Credit to Notre Dame there. Duke, you won the game. You had to. Louisville, what happened? Got beat in the trenches today. Same thing. You know, other than the Big Ten loss with Ohio State, 2 of our losses to ACC teams. Where did Sam Hartman play before? In the ACC. Is this something about the ACC? You know, God forbid if we were in the SEC conference, you know, what this team would be like right now. A 7-3 record possibly could be a 3-7 record in the SEC. Those teams, you know, they manipulate gamemanship. They scheme. They look at defensive players of who they're playing against, scheming other players. They do their homework. This is the ACC we're talking about. One of the lesser conferences in the big Power 5 conference here. Just think about it. Think about it. 2 ACC losses. Clemson at 4-4. Louisville, you know what? We went to their house on a primetime game. They showed up. We didn't. An ass kicking there. And this was an ass kicking as well. You know, I'll be honest with you. That's what happened. That's what happens sometimes when you play. I don't want to say down to your competition. You know, on the college football show, Bill Furman told me that, you know, I thought Notre Dame would win this game. I honestly did. Even in the pregame, I said 38-23. You know, gave little predictions there. But Bill made me realize something. He's like, you know, Paul, look at that record of Clemson right now, 4-4. You know, I looked at it, and then he's like, what do you think that means? I was like, well, bowl eligible. Clemson becomes bowl eligible today. That means, you know, that this was a do or die win for them. Of course, Dabo's never had a losing record. That was an incentive too. You know, the seniors thinking about Notre Dame here. You know, what way to go out to beat Notre Dame? Jeremiah Trotter showed up today. You know, Fahad's not a senior, but he showed up today. Dabo put that team in a position to win here. Going 5-4 now. They're not 500 anymore. They're not below 500. They became bowl eligible. Well, what they did to Notre Dame today is they actually knocked them out. Notre Dame is bowl eligible, but you knock them out of win the next 2 games, Wake Forest. You win that game, then you play Stanford. You become bowl eligible plus possibly a New Year's 6 game. You possibly could. Name recognition falls away. That was probably going to give us an SEC battle to probably one of the 2 teams, most likely either being a Missouri, LSU, or Bama, whoever didn't make it. One is creeping on the outside of the top 10. That's who Notre Dame would have probably played in a BCS, not a BCS, I'm sorry, a New Year's 6 game. Okay. Well, you know what? Clemson knocked you out of that today. You're not playing in a New Year's 6 game. Like I said, you might be playing on December 23rd here in the Johnny Toilet Bowl this year. That's the way what we deserve right now, losing to teams that we should beat on paper. I know on paper is a different story. When you get on the field, you play a team. You play that team regardless of what's on paper. Execution goes a long way. Scheme goes a long way. And the biggest thing, that's 2 losses that we had, I'm not going to talk about the Ohio State game. That's a loss there. It was a loss, but Louisville, Clemson, these 2 teams have one thing in common. Not the elite athletes, of course, okay? You really don't think about this offense in Clemson being elite. Clay Klubnik, 186 yards, not really a quarterback. A lot of duck balls out there today. But Faha, 186 yards on the ground. They have one thing in common with the Louisville team. That's called what's inside. It's called heart. That's what they showed. Scheme and heart. That's what they did. They protected their home ground. Louisville did it at home, ass beating. Clemson did it at home in Death Valley, ass beating. It's won in the trenches, and that's exactly where the game was won. But if you look at these stats today, okay, estimate 17 carries, 87 yards. Hartman had 7 carries for 68 yards. 38 yards was his long one there. Getting to the end zone, of course. But listen, we have a dragon as a running back. We have a committee running back. We know Austin Estime is our number 1 back. We know that. Over 1,000 yards going to hit this season this year. Pretty damn close to 1,000 already. I think he's at 980 or something like that so far. But Jeremiah Love, 3 carries for 11 yards. Jabrian Payne, 1 for 6. Faison on a sweep, 1 for 6. Jadian Price, 2 for 5. 31 carries for 183 yards. You go to this Clemson team. Phil Maffa, 36 carries, 186 yards. One man alone outgains the entire Notre Dame committee running back room. Insane. That tells you one thing. The offensive line and that running back got together and said, hey, you know what? It's time. It's time to go eat. Let's do it. That's what they did. Notre Dame got manhandled on that defensive line. That defensive line we talked about being elite, fast, quick, 11 hats on a ball, filling the gaps. JT Baran, was nowhere to be found in this game. He had a couple great, tackles there in the second half, but a little too late. You can't do much on there. Receiving wise, 13 receptions this week, guys. 146 yards, okay? No TDs. We had some long balls. Flores had 1 for 35 downfield. You had long balls, but where is the intermediate game in this thing here? Where is the intermediate game? Flores 1 for 35, okay? Long ball got you a first down. Audric Estime, 4 screen patches. The one, he stepped out of bounds going down to the 5-yard line there. That was a beautiful play call. Hartman looked outside, hit him on a screen. But if you look at that play there, that wasn't just a great play call. That was a breakdown in defense. The linebacker and the safety curled, and they went to the opposite side, went downfield on that one. Estimators came out of the pocket, found the release. Hartman got him the ball. Can't take anything away from that. But scampered down to the 5-yard line, stepped out of bounds at the 5. It was reviewed. Of course, he stepped out of bounds. But Jordan Faison, 2 catches for 32 yards. The long was 20, so his other was 12. Not a long ball. Tobias Merriweather, 1 catch, 10 yards. Holden States, this is exactly what I said in the postgame show right after here. Without Mitchell Evans, with his injury last week, what is this offense? Everything goes through Mitchell Evans. Without Mitchell Evans, what is this Notre Dame team? What is this Notre Dame team? Without Estime leading the show, if Estime has a 200-yard game, everything's okay. But without Mitchell Evans, we struggle. Hartman doesn't look downfield. He doesn't make the right reads or assume the right reads. 2 picks today, could have been 4. Leading wide receiver, come on, man. Are you serious? 35 yards with one of our best receivers, Rico Flores. Chris Tyree, 4 for 29. Come on. We're on Holden States, our backup tight end, who moves to the starting role here. 1 catch for 7 yards. 1 catch for 7 yards. Do we blame Gerard Parker for this? Do we blame Sam Hartman? Do we blame the offensive coordinator, Gerard Parker? Who do we blame on this? Honestly, who do you blame with this? Do you blame Hartman? I blame him for not making the right reads. Does he hold the ball in the pocket a little bit too much today? I've seen that a couple of times. Yeah, there was a couple covered sacks, but if your defenders aren't getting space in the secondary zone, who do you blame? Do you blame Parker for the play calling? Do you blame him not getting the receivers in slot positions outside? The one was a rub route, that offensive penalty on, I forgot who it was. I believe, I'm not sure who it was, or the wide receiver that got it. I think it was Merriweather. I think it was on the rub route where he came through. But who do you blame in this? Do you blame Gerard Parker, the OC? Do you blame Hartman? Who do you blame? Who do you blame this game? The play calling versus Hartman. What do we blame? Honestly, I have no clue who to blame on this one, honestly. But hey, listen, Notre Dame goes down 31-23. We're sitting at 7-3 right now, still bowl eligible, of course. But as Notre Dame fans, what do we always want? We don't want a regular bowl game. We don't care about that. We don't care about the top 25. We don't care about the top 20, the top 15, the top 10, the top 5. Every year, Notre Dame wants one thing, and it's called a national championship. Damn, man. 1988 was a long-ass time. A long-ass time. I was still in high school. I was a sophomore in high school, when Tony Rice led the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to a national championship. Chris Zordich, Michael Stonebreaker, Rocket Ismail. Those days when we had a team that would go out, fight, fight for 4 quarters, all the way to the very end, from beginning to end. Protect your house, do what you had to do. And they didn't care about the names back then. They didn't care about that. I don't know what it is this year. Yes, we're bowl eligible. We're going to get a Blockbuster Bowl, even though Blockbuster isn't in business anymore. They'll probably bring that back and, use Notre Dame's name to bring back Blockbuster. I don't know. But, going forward, man, you're 7-3 here. Congrats to Clemson, man. 4-4, moved to 5-4, beating Notre Dame at home in Death Valley. 3 sides of the game: phase, offense, defense, special teams. They won the game. They clearly won the game today. Kudos to them. Congratulations. Congratulations goes to, a person that I've met quite a few times, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Had the privilege of seeing him at St. Joe's Prep, of course, play. Congratulations, man. You stepped up to your All-American consensus preseason All-American. Definitely going to get ACC player, the defensive player of the week this week. Congratulations to the Clemson Tigers. But moving forward, hey, next week, man, kind of scary next week if you want to think about it, really. We'll talk about about a couple of minutes. Well, we talked about Notre Dame losing to 2 ACC teams this year, Louisville and Clemson. We all know where Sam Hartman used to play, correct? Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons. Well, that's who we play next week. A lot of the announcers looked at it. If you look back at stats, Sam Hartman has struggled against the ACC. 2 losses. How many picks does he have in the ACC games already? 4 picks in 2 ACC games already. This is something that we're going to see next week. Wake Forest is not even ranked. They're not even in the top 40 right now. So is it something that we're going to see another letdown? Now they do come to South Bend next week. Who knows? I'm a little scared of this game. I'm a little weary of this game. Right now, going into any game that we're playing, I don't care if we're playing, the Sisters of the Poor right down my street here, the blind, the deaf, whatever you want to say. I'm scared to play them right now because this team has no identity. We know Mitchell Evans might be out again. So, hell, what is this offense going to look like without Mitchell Evans? We don't even know. We don't compensate for a player being out. The 2 great players that I've seen on defense today, where JT Bryan was flying over the field. There's nothing he can do playing linebacker. One guy assuming to stop Mafa. It takes 7 on this kid tonight. Plus the O-line was running through the gaps. Can't do much. I want to say, Benjamin Morrison had a great game. Great defensive presence out there on one side. And Xavier Watts, man, I said he would have a pick today. He's leading the nation in 7. But, you get all the individual stats, don't mean a damn thing when you can't win a game. You lose 31-23 here. So looking forward to next week. We'll be back on next Saturday morning at 11 a.m. But, hey, it is what it is, right? 7-3 right now. Hey, we're above 500. But as a Notre Dame fan, we all know we play for one thing. That's not participation trophies. That's not for rankings. That's not for anything. It's not for prestige. It's not for that crap. It's for a BCS championship. It's been a long damn time. We made it a couple times to the BCS, Final Four there. Outright loss to Alabama. I was at that game. Bad memories, But going back to 1988, when we were something. We were relevant. We were name recognition, but that name recognition stood on our front chest and said, we have one thing called heart. That's what we play with. Even though we got heart, man, we haven't showed it either. We haven't showed it all season, we showed it one game, taking Ohio State down to the limit, coming back and beating Duke at the right minute there. But you look at all these games, how we almost lost to the Chippewas. Do you guys remember that? Okay. We almost lost to some of these teams. The 31-23 score could have been a lot worse today. Hartman could have had 2 more pick sixes. The one on the outskirts on the boundaries, that was a clear pick six, went through the hands. Bad game today. Notre Dame just played a bad game. Very simple. 7-3, nothing to be ashamed of. A lot of teams would die for a 7-3 record. But like I said, as Notre Dame fans, we don't play for 7-3 records. We don't play for 8-1. We don't play for 10-1. We play for 11-0 national championship race to get there. Top 5, that's what we want. Get in the top 4, get to the BCS championship, earn your way in there, bring home another trophy, man. That's what we want, that banner behind me, it's been sitting there. It has, the last championship was 1988. It's been a long ass time. I want to order a new one once in a while that says, 2023 national championships here. That's what I want. That's what we play for. And I think every team plays for that. If you played just to beat one team on your schedule, you're playing for the wrong reasons, man. You really are. But hey, looking forward to next week. We have Wake Forest at home in South Bend. They come down to us. Rematch for Hartman's old team. So little worry about that game as well, but we'll see how that goes next week. Then we'll look forward to Stanford being our ending season of the game here. Stanford isn't what it is. The Cardinals out there, and who knows? We'll see. We right the ship next week. We could end up going 9-3. Possibly the following week we'll go 9-3. Great season, bowl eligible, of course, but once again, it is what it is. A loss today, 31-23. Congratulations, Clemson. We'll move on to next week. Before we get out here, guys, I do want to read some sponsors really quick. I wish this game was actually played in Philadelphia because of the fact I would actually have to call Jason Fine today. If you're having an injury, please call Jason Fine, 1-800-HURT-123. Attorney Big Al. Motor vehicle accident, slip and fall, workman's comp, personal injury claims. 3 convenient locations throughout Pennsylvania, New Jersey. First, the Garden State in Cherry Hill, 3 Greensward Lane. Of course, in PA, you have Philadelphia, 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120, and my neck of the woods near the Pittsburgh area, 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. If you do call that number in need of a lawyer, make sure you mention Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. If one of our live operators get the phone call, you might even get me on the phone once in a while. If I do that, whoever you talk to, please mention Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. That told you to call there. Hey, mention that 33 1/3%, no recovery, no fee. Promise you the Out of the Box discount is 33 1/3%, no recovery, no fee for your entire constellation case from beginning to end. Guys, listen, I might need some coffee tonight because I'm not going to be able to sleep. I got to go get that Monkey Cold coffee. I got to order a couple new bags. The Evolution of Flavor Infused Coffee, Bourbon Chocolate Chip, Toasted Coconut Rum, Samaritan Blend, their newest flavor, Organic Blend, Perula, Florida. Make sure you use that promo code OTBS Sports at monkeycoldcoffee.com. While you're there, before you check out, go get the merchandise tab, get a coffee cup, get a T-shirt, get a thermal mug, get a K-cup, get a thermal diffuser, get a cold brew diffuser, get something, get their rum cake. I'm telling you, you're going to need it because that rum cake is to die for. I wish I had one here to put me to sleep because it is one insane rum cake. So make sure you use promo code OTBS Sports at monkeycoldcoffee.com. Also, guys, here's our schedule. I won't go over too crazy for you today, but we do have something for everybody. 7 days of streaming, 7 nights a week, over 20 shows per week. A live schedule will be out Monday morning for this week, of course. So, guys, my name is Paul Spencer. I thank you for tuning in today. Hey, Irish Nation is still proud of what we are, 7-3. We move forward to next week, continue it. Let's move on to go back to South Bend and get a win versus Wake Forest, So let's bounce back. My name is Paul Spencer. And, guys, thank you for tuning in. I will see you next Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Once again, go Irish. It's not a downfall. We'll be back next week. Until then, my name is Paul Spencer at the Golden Dome Podcast, and I'll see you next Saturday at 11 a.m. Have a great weekend.